Hey, Bobby.
Hi everyone, I'm Bobby.
Hey, are you all right? I'm Abs.
I hope everyone is doing well today, and it would be great to get an idea of what everyone is interested in. So if you could just pop in your name in the box that's popping up on your screen, course and the area of interest in the chat box, that would be great. It's a real pleasure to be able to welcome you all to this slightly unconventional open event. 2 years ago today, I was in the position of searching for the right uni for me, and it was probably around this time that I attended my very first UA92 open day. It was at this event I fell in love with the uni, and I was sure that this was the next step for me. Since then, I've been at UA92 and I've had loads of opportunities. For example, we've had guest speakers, including Gary Neville himself. We've had professional journalists who's helped us have published articles. We've had training at KPMG, and you'll speak to someone from KPMG a little later on in the open day. And we've actually been to our own exhibition of our work that we have done during the course. However, it's not always that easy, and especially during the current climate and having the inability to properly look around universities, it might be a bit more difficult to choose. However, I really hope that this event answers any questions you may have about the institution, and it gives you confidence to make UA92 one of your top choices when you do apply for higher education. Please don't be shy today. Myself and my peers, including Abs, and our staff work by it. And if there's anything you'd like to know, even if the question seems trivial, just ask via the Q&A function or chat box, and we'll always be happy to help.
Thanks, Bobby. So I attended an open day last year through clearing because it was like a quick decision to make because I was contemplating whether to go back to uni or not, and I did. I'm glad I made it. I'm glad I attended UA92 because I've learned so much life skills, made new friends. I've really improved my mental health and well-being. I met great people like Joe Bashi. Hello, everyone. But for me, like the UA92 experience session you'll hear today, you'll hear more about our unique timetable and why UA92 is different. We've got a special industry partner panel session from like KPMG, Talk. And after that, we've got sessions on finance, because, you know, every student needs to do their finance and everything, student finance, scholarships and accommodation. And last but not least, course taster sessions.
And for anyone who is interested in applying to study this coming September, November or January, we also have a fast track to 2020 session at 5 o'clock. This session will cover the UA92 Kickstart grants for anyone financially impacted by COVID-19 in Greater Manchester, and our TASS, so that's Talented Athlete Scholarship Scheme for any professional athletes interested in studying at University Academy 92. And if we do have any parents or guardians, please join via in our parents and guardian session at 5:30. And you should have been provided with all the Zoom links via email, and all the Zoom links are also available on the website. But if you do have any issues, just message us on the chat box, DM us on social media, or drop us an email at hello@ua92.ac.uk. I'm now delighted to introduce you to our Director of Academic Studies, Dr. Ali Jones.
Thanks, Bobby and Abs. I'm going to take this opportunity to welcome you all to UA92. I hope everybody is safe and well in these interesting times. I'm really sorry that I don't have the opportunity to welcome you onto campus at this point in time, but we are really looking forward to welcoming students and getting back onto campus, do some face-to-face teaching from September. So it's a fantastic campus, new building, really exciting space to work and to study in. It's a shame we're not there right now, but what I'll do to start with is just give you an opportunity to have another look, if you haven't already, at our campus video and see a little bit more about what life at UA92 is like. So that was just a quick look at our campus. As you can see, you know, brand new custom built campus, brilliant for all sorts of teaching and learning. And I think we're all missing being there right now. And you'll see some familiar faces on there already. So a little bit about UA92 and how we're different, why we're different, and where we came from. So we were co-founded by, you know, the Manchester United legend, class of '92, Gary Neville, who we've already talked about, Phil Neville, Paul Scholes, Nicky Butt, and Ryan Giggs. And the whole ethos of UA92's approach to teaching and learning and to study was really based around the ethos that the class of '92 had on the pitch. So it wasn't just about talent. Undoubtedly, they had talent. Everybody had talent. But really, it's around the determination, the grit, the hard work, the resilience, and all those other kind of skills that they developed as part of that allowed them to be successful players, but also to go on and have successful careers doing other things. Obviously, our other main founder, I suppose, is Lancaster University. I'll talk a little bit more about those in a minute. But Lancaster University is, you know, top 10 UK university. I think it's currently number 8 in the Complete University Guide, and it has national and international recognition. So, you know, they're a really, really key part of what we do. And finally, last but definitely not least, are our industry partners. We've obviously got an industry partner session coming up next, but you know, we are really at UA92 focused on industry experience, making sure that our programs are, you know, academically excellent, but absolutely underpinned and co-designed with industry to make sure that, you know, as a graduate from UA92, you're career ready and you've got the skills and the knowledge that industry really, really needs. So talked a little bit about our degrees being awarded by Lancaster University. They're a top 10 UK university. So UA92 is really, I suppose, unique in the fact that you get the opportunity to study in Manchester, be it a city centre based institution, but that actually all our degrees, our certificates are awarded by Lancaster. So graduates leave with a highly recognised Lancaster degree, so that's UK and internationally recognised. We're very proud of our partnership with Lancaster. Also talked about industry links, and there are a lot of organisations and universities that talk about industry links, but at UA92 it really is genuine industry led. You know, we work with industry, we listen to industries and our whole breadth of industry partners to make sure that when we're designing our programmes and when we're working out what our assessments are going to be, that actually it is about making sure that our graduates and our programmes prepare students for what they need in the workplace. Genuinely, you know, our graduates will meet the needs of industry and they will be career ready, definitely at the point of graduation, but actually probably even before. You know, all of our programmes have key industry partners and that have been co-designed and a little bit co-delivered. I think one of the ones that we're particularly looking forward to starting this September is our degree in computer science or a certificate in software development, which has been co-designed with Microsoft and Codenation, really aimed at making the software engineers and the computer programmers that we need going forward. Our accounting and finance students are getting great experience working with KPMG, setting real life tasks, insight days, getting work experience, and really sort of getting a feel for what it's like to work in those kind of sectors. Definitely real world experience. UA92 is not just about learning from a book. You know, we pride ourselves on that industry, practical experience our students get. Even our business students have been successful at Man United. So it's a really core part of what we do, and we're proud of it as well. One of the things that I think is particularly unique at UA92 and something again that we're proud of and very much comes out of that vision from the class of '92 about being successful is about your personal and character development, not just about your subject knowledge. And we really do put character development at the heart of what we do. Again, a lot of other universities talk about this, and it might be something that's tagged on at the end. You know, the approach at UA92 is very much that we put that character development at the heart, at the core of what we do, making sure that you learn all the key skills, resilience, problem solving, health and well-being, communication, digital skills that are transferable and that you really need to be successful in whatever future career you might choose. And obviously wrapped around that is then the subject specific stuff, but actually, you know, if you want to go into business, you want to be an accountant, you want to go into journalism or media, you've got those skills and that knowledge, but actually this is a focus on you and your personal development, make, you know, you as employable as possible. The next thing I think around UA92 that is particularly distinctive and unique, I think, is our model, is our teaching and learning model, something that I spend quite a lot of time looking after and looking about. The big thing I think that's unique to UA92 is that as a student, you will study one module at a time. Many of the higher education institutions, you might be doing 2 or 3 modules across a semester. We do one module at a time in a block. So you're doing a 6-week block, and within that you'll focus on one module at a time, one subject at a time, and you will do all your assessment within that block. So it's not, you know, that you might start learning something in September and have an exam on it in June or May or June time. It's all done a block at a time, so that actually that knowledge is consolidated and actually you can focus, and it's a really good way to learn and actually reflects a lot more of real life. So, you know, we're within that. And as a consequence of that, there were no traditional end of year exams. So all assessment takes place within our block structure, and you can learn, you can build on it, and then move on. And our timetable, I think, is also very, very unique, but also very, very straightforward. So as a student at UA92, you'll either be a morning student or an afternoon student. Morning student, you'll be in lessons between 9 and 1. An afternoon student, you'll be in lessons between 2 and 6. Which actually means that you can plan your life and your study and your sports and your work around that timetable. And that timetable will be fixed for the duration of your studies. So you can start, you know, picking up a part-time job and actually be able to commit to that job and to that employer for the full 3 years. And the other thing, because of our block structure, that I think is really, really unique to UA92 and something that we're proud of, is that you can start in September, November or January as a full-time student. And particularly if you start in November, actually the way our block model works is that you will still graduate in the July 3 years later. So you can catch up even if you're a November start for whatever reason, and you can catch up and still graduate with most of your class. So taking a little bit more in-depth information around the weekly timetable, which I think is really clear, but also it's information that I think is important that, you know, prospective students know, and when they're making decisions about where they might want to study. So as a morning student, you'll be in Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays between 9 and 1. As that little clip's just shown, Wednesday is our Digital Wednesdays day, where actually you'll do 4 hours of learning, but in your own time throughout the day. So actually, if you want to fit some volunteering, some sports, some work around that, then that actually works perfectly. And similarly, if you're an afternoon student, you'll be in between 2 and 6, again, Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and have that Wednesday free. One of the things that we are immensely proud of, and actually allows us flexibility for next year, We stuck to that timetable as we went into lockdown as COVID-19 hit, and we will use that timetable model going forward, and we will be able to stick to it. So when we get to September, we're going to stick to that timetable, and depending on how lockdown works, you'll be in classes or you'll be on campus, but actually that timetable won't change. So we'll be able to ensure you get 16 hours of taught material every week. On campus or off campus, that timetable is not going to change throughout the duration of your study. Part of obviously what I've talked about is our online delivery. We use Microsoft Teams as our main platform. Obviously, we talked about our really, really strong and exciting partnership with Microsoft. And so going forward for September, when we look at how we bring everybody back onto campus, which is really, really exciting, we'll probably be looking at 8 hours contact on campus and 8 hours online through Microsoft Teams, so that actually we can get as many people back on campus in a safe environment as possible. We know that prospective students and students really value that face-to-face contact. We really, really value it too. It's an important part of learning and teaching, actually making sure that we do that in a safe way. And through that model, we'll be teaching in classes of no more than 15, might even be as small as 8, to make sure that we can facilitate that learning in the most appropriate way possible. Looking at our academic year structure as well, again, this is fixed. It's a really clear model. I think we've talked about it. As a student, you would study one module at a time within one block. So each of our blocks is 6 weeks in length. During that time, you will do a 25 credit module based on your subject discipline, whether that's sports, whether that's accounting, whether that's business, media, journalism, or computer science. And you'll also do within that 6-week block part of our target talent curriculum. So a 5 credit module, very much based on our character and personal development, all those skills we've just talked about, the things that are really at the heart of what UA92 is about. So you'll do that in a 6-week block. And as a full-time student, you'll do 4 blocks a year. And September to April, obviously you can start in November, in which case you'll run into block 5, or start in January. So it is a block at a time, allowing you to really focus on your studies, really, really concentrate on what you're learning, get that real in-depth learning, and then move on, very much replicating what it's like in the workplace. So just summarising our courses for next year, obviously so far we've already had students successfully complete year 1 on accounting and finance, business studies, journalism, media and communications, physical education, sport and exercise science. And I think we've had a really, really successful first year, and looking forward to taking that forward into next year as well. New for 2020, we've got new programs in computer science that I've already talked about, and the close relationship with Microsoft, and in sport management. All of those programs are also available to study as a certificate. So actually, if you think you might just want to do a year, see what it's like, work out what higher education at UA92 is all about, you can do that. And I'm also hoping to make sure that for September 2020, we strengthen our sports angle within the journalism programs, and potentially look at a sports journalism program as well. So we've got certificate options. So if you don't meet the UCAS points for the bachelor's programs, then that may be an option to you, for you. And also, in particular, we have access courses. So if you look at our UCAS tariffs on the website, and haven't quite reached that yet, or don't quite get to that point through clearing, if you're looking at 2020 entry, we have a number of access courses as well. So there's formal access to HE courses that we do in partnership with Craft College, but also, and excitingly, a new step forward at UA92 programme aimed at people that may have been out of education for a while, have work experience, but are actually really interested in maybe a career change or re-entering higher education at this point. And then any questions you've got, put them in the chat, or pick them up with us later on, and we can give you more detail on those. Finally, I think is really around our accommodation, and obviously being a student at UA92 isn't all about what you do in our physical classrooms on campus or on our virtual classrooms with Microsoft Teams. It's about that holistic university experience. And if you're moving away from home to come and study with us, obviously where you spend your downtime is really, really important. So we're really, really delighted to have partnered with Manchester Apartments, Academy Apartments, to provide an offering of accommodation that might suit you. So Academy Apartments is just 30 seconds walk from the UA92 campus and has great views of both the Old Trafford football ground and obviously the cricket ground as well. It's a new building, designed and delivered specifically for students. And students moving in September 2020 will be the first ever tenants. And so just with the location of the campus as well, 2 minutes on foot from the Old Trafford Metro link, which gets you right into the centre of Manchester really, really quickly. We also have accommodation links at West Point, which is more of a 12 or 15-minute walk from campus, or again just a couple of stops on the Metro link. Really modern facility, on-site gym, common areas, and actually a lot of our existing students have lived there really, really successfully. There'll be more about our finance, scholarships and accommodation in a session at 5, but we're also working with these partners to make sure that as much as possible we can COVID-proof the environments there, but also actually the contracts and the arrangements, so that actually we can flex in and out of COVID, and that we can do everything we possibly can to protect your tenancy, but also your contracts there. So that's really everything from me. I want to say a big thank you at this point for joining, for listening to me. I hope I've answered any questions you might have had about UA92. But if you've got any more questions, put them in the chat box, ask in any of the future sessions. But we're going to take a 5-minute break now, and I'm really hope that you can join us again for our industry partner session, where we'll talk to some of our key industry partners about why they've chosen to work with UA92 and what their partnership with us means for you. Thank you.
Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm Claire Riding, I'm Director of External Affairs at UA92. So a large part of my job is working really closely with our industry partners. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome 3 of those partners today to our partner session. We've got Courtney from KPMG, Joe from Truth, and Sam from Talk. So I'm going to kick off with a few questions. I'll also keep an eye out for any questions in the chat box as well. So if people want to ask specific questions, then please feel free to just drop them in the Q&A section. So I'll start off and I'll ask Sam to answer first. I'm interested in why you've partnered with UA92 and what your vision is for the partnership in the future.
Yes, so I think for us at Talk, we decided to partner with UA92 for many reasons. I think location-wise, we were just spaced around the corner, which obviously helps. But also we were really inspired by the mission and the values that UA92 had towards their students and their investment in making sure that industry was such an integral part of their degree. Because for us, you know, my role in particular is looking at what does that future pipeline of talent look like into our business. So anything that we can do to work closely alongside students that are local and have all the right behaviours and attitudes to their future careers, then it was a no-brainer for us to engage with them at that early stage, with the hope that any support we can provide them along the way, out the end of them graduating in the next few years, it could be a natural transition to come and work with us maybe more permanently. So that was a big reason for us joining with UA92.
Great, thank you. Joe, can I come to you next, please?
Hi, yeah. I think for us, obviously we're great advocates of the brand anyway. I think there's a huge disconnect for me in our industry because it's so unregulated, between higher education qualifications and lacking that industry experience. And I think what UA92 does is it bridges that gap. So it's less of a culture shock when somebody does come into the workforce, but it also gives people an added advantage. I think institutions in the UK, higher education institutions in the UK have become quite institutionalised. I think academia is great and I think it's important. It allows you to learn and look at things from a different perspective. But what UA92 does brilliantly is it overlays that commercial awareness and that industry awareness. And for us as a small business and a family-owned agency, for us, any type of recruitment is a real risk, it's a gamble. So having some reassurances from the individual's education and what they've learned and what they've achieved becomes very appealing to us as a business, because it reduces that risk ultimately.
Thanks, Joe. And finally over to you, Courtney.
Yeah, sure. Just I suppose a bit of background in that KPMG is a professional services firm. So we don't have a product, we provide a service, and that service is really defined by the skills and expertise that our people have. So you know, we are a skills-based business, so when we're recruiting we are looking for certain skills, and a lot of those are the character skills that align with the kind of target talent curriculum that UA92 teaches. So I think it's the skills piece for us where there's a really strong alignment. I suppose another reason for us partnering with UA92 is the flexible model of delivery. So being able to be a morning or an afternoon student and fit in commitments that you have outside of your studies is a fantastic enabler for social mobility, and that's a really kind of core part of what we do as a firm and what we're about. So like we're one of the top social mobility employers in the UK, and a lot of our the work that we do in the community is really focused on you know, skills provision for young people from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. And I just think that UA92 model opens up opportunities for higher education for people who wouldn't necessarily have considered going down that route before. And I'm not sure that you're seeing that in other kind of HE institutions. So I feel like that's a really unique offer from UA92, both the kind of character skills development and the opportunity to study and access higher education if perhaps you wouldn't have had that chance otherwise.
Yeah, thanks, Courtney. And that leads me on well actually to my next question, which I'll stick with you for, if that's okay. So like you say, we focus on character and personal development as a really important part of our degrees. That includes things like resilience, problem solving, communication, health and well-being, the whole spectrum of things. And because really what we believe, and obviously what you said you believe as well, is that you need more than a degree to prepare you for the real world of work. I wondered then whether you want to expand at all on your views on that, but also talk specifically about what skills you think have been lacking previously when it comes to recruiting new graduates.
Okay, yeah. So I think the character skills are obviously hugely important, and I suppose the way that I'd illustrated it is just from conversations that I've had with graduates at KPMG. So I mean, we recruit around 1,000 graduates each year across the UK, but in Manchester obviously have like quite a large pool of grads there as well. And speaking to our graduate network, I'm always really surprised by how we have graduates joining our business and they're working on kind of audit engagements, yet their background is in they've studied geography at university or English literature, and whilst we are a professional services firm and kind of specializing in accountancy, is that a lot of the graduates who are on our program haven't necessarily come from that background or even considered that as a kind of route for them. So I guess that really emphasizes the fact that yes, your degree is important, your academic skills are important, but it's those character skills that actually kind of unlock opportunities as well. So from our recruitment process, we actually have kind of 11 key skills that we look for. Unsurprisingly, really aligns well to the kind of character skills that are taught at UA92. I think work ethic, resilience, communication, they're all really kind of crucial to the work that we do. Like I said, skills-based business, we work with a really wide range of clients, and it's being able to communicate with those clients to understand their requirements, understand their needs, and be able to effectively respond to them. That's kind of the bread and butter of our roles. So having those kind of key character skills is it's hugely important.
Thanks, Courtney. Sam, can I ask you the same question, please?
Yes, so I think for me, more personally as well, but also on behalf of obviously Talk is, I think when I was back at university doing my own degree a number of years ago, it was, I feel as though you kind of take for granted when people say all these extracurricular activities that you should do or benefit you in the long run, because you kind of think, yeah, that's what all the adults say. But I think it's until now when you're in that career that actually you see it absolutely is. And I think the fact that UA92 offer that focused curriculum around behaviours and characteristics is crucial, and that's where it sets it apart from other universities and other institutions in higher education. Because actually, you come to a workplace and then you realise that most companies have things like company values and behaviours that you're actually rated and performance on in how you behave in the workplace. So actually all those things that you do in addition to your core studies on your assignments and modules and things is actually not to discount the degree, but actually it's so much more value with that alongside it. So it kind of gives you've got to think when you're graduating what sets you apart from other graduates, because as Courtney says, KPMG in particular recruit thousands, and that's a massive competition for all graduates coming out of that journey. So what sets you apart from others? So knowing that students at UA92 do focused work on things like resilience, it translates straight through to any type of career, whether it be at Talk or other industries. And I think it's worth thinking about the fact that sometimes you might be in a position now that not too sure what that future career looks like. But actually, regardless of the degree that you specialise in right now, doing all this extracurricular and support for your behaviours will take you a lot further, regardless of what degree you do in the future. So I don't know about anybody else on the panel, but my degree relates nothing towards what I do now. And that's not to say that that's right or wrong, but it's all the transferable skills that I got from university, being in a society, etc., that's led me here. So it's nice to be in a position in a company to work on the flip side of things and work with students to really see the value and the benefit in that.
Thanks, Sam. And Jo, if you can answer the same question, please.
Yeah, sure. And I think Sam made a really good point there, in that it's not always about the ability to learn something in isolation. It's about the determination. It's about being prepared to do whatever you need to do to get to the results that you need to get to. My industry in particular, the creative industry and digital industry, is incredibly competitive, incredibly competitive. And just to put that into context, we might receive anywhere up to between 6 and 10 portfolios and CVs every single week from students who want to come and work with us, be it a placement or a job. And I think what the Target Talent curriculum does is it gives you that grounding, but it also allows you to think in real world terms. And I don't mean that in a condescending way, but I think, just touching on the point that Courtney made earlier about resilience. Resilience for me is really, really key in a lot of industries, but particularly within ours. I worked in huge global ad agencies, and it is cutthroat. It's absolutely cutthroat. And to be able to learn from mistakes and learn from failures and see them as a positive and move on and take that on board as you develop in your professional career, it's just invaluable to be able to do that. And I think that blended approach to that way of learning and thinking is only going to give you a competitive edge when you get to industry.
Yeah, quite agree, Jo. So my question to you, I'll stay with you, Jo, actually, for this one. As you know, obviously this whole session is about the fact that we're industry led, but what that means in practical terms for our students is that we work with partners in lots of different ways. We work with partners to help design our courses. We offer insight days where students can go into our partner organisations and just learn about that business. We have our partner organisations come in and deliver guest masterclasses for our students, and lots more, actually. That's only a tiny bit. I'm interested to hear, firstly, how you think that level of industry exposure contributes to the academic qualification. And secondly, give us some examples of how you have worked with our students and the kind of things that you've done.
Yeah, sure. Okay. I think it contributes because I think it's quite easy, and like Sam, my degree has got nothing to do with anything that I did professionally later in life, although, it didn't do any harm, but it was very, very generic. I think by being immersed in industry, all of a sudden you've got this commercial edge, you've got this business acumen that's underpinning everything that you do. One of the biggest frustrations in any organisation at any size is that it takes 6 months for somebody to be effective in a role. Now that's a big cost to any business, no matter what its size. So again, it just dampens down that risk factor. It allows you to recruit people who are going to add value to your business quite quickly. And also people that are going to have the resilience and the determination to represent your business as well as you would. And I think that's super important. And I think also from how we've contributed, myself and Darren, our creative director, we've done a couple of different lectures across both the business students and also the marketing students. We ran a design sprint session with both of them, so showing them a very different way to think about strategy, so that probably wouldn't get exposed to that in any normal educational setting. And then also working virtually at the moment with a group of students on a marketing and content project, and doing virtual calls, given the current climate, to coach them and to give them some advice about how to think about how to get from the start of the brief to the output, really. So and it's just really good to be able to give something back and to input and to shape how people learn and think. I think it really shows a dynamic shift in the higher education landscape, and I think that's only a good thing.
Thank you. Can I ask the same question of you, Courtney?
Yeah, sure. I guess so. I didn't go to university. I did an apprenticeship and did my degree whilst I was working. And I think, you know, I did get that experience of the workplace that I, you know, found invaluable to me in my situation. And I think that you know, what UA92 offers is a sort of balance between the two, because you are getting an interaction with employers that you would not get anywhere else. Not only the kind of quantity, but also the types of opportunities. From some of the activities that we've run at KPMG, we haven't run with kind of any other students anywhere else before. So it's that unique access that you're getting to, you know, not just one industry partner, but kind of a growing list. So, and I think that's, you know, is particularly important, and that it doesn't matter what you're studying, you've still got access to those partner organisations as well. Just because you're on an accounting and finance pathway doesn't mean that you can't necessarily interact with kind of a partner who's on the more creative side. So I think it's that level of access that just opens your eyes to the variety of opportunities that are out there to you, and, you know, what you think might kind of be your career path or something that best suits you might turn out to be something completely different, but you've got the opportunity to sort of dip your toe in the water. I think so. Just to kind of bring it back to some of the experiences that we've offered UA92 students, we've run insight days where they've been able to come into our office in Manchester city centre, and that's really kind of giving them an overview of, you know, what KPMG does as a firm, access to our employees from graduates and apprentices up to kind of office senior partner level. And we run a lot of our activities are all kind of focused on your sort of character skills, but also emphasising what you're learning in the classroom as well. We run networking sessions. So, and I think a big kind of outcome of that is that UA92 students are leaving our offices and they've got kind of names from within KPMG, like contacts that they've built up, people that they can add on LinkedIn, go to and ask career advice from, and start to build that sort of professional network, which is so important when it comes to, you know, looking for jobs in the future. Alongside that, we've run communication skills sessions with some of the UA92 student ambassadors, which has enabled them to go out and speak to other prospective students in groups in the community to sort of promote what UA92 is offering. We've also run specific sessions with the accounting and finance students, so that using the expertise of our colleagues across the business to coach students through some exercises to support them with their end of module assessments. So we've done some kind of, you know, character focused, a bit of kind of industry insight, but also, you know, that real academic focus as well. So I feel like we've worked kind of spanned across the UA92 offering. And I think going forward, you know, we're looking forward to being able to offer mentoring, some work shadowing, work placements, and be able to kind of support students to get that more kind of in-depth experience of the workplace.
Thanks, Courtney. That's such a great summary, and you know, it's really easy to forget how much you guys have done already with the students in just 1 year of having students. So
we've been very keen.
Brilliant. And finally, over to you, Sam.
I don't know how to follow that really, but no, kind of a lot of the similar things really in terms of, yeah, having some students come into Talk. We work closely with Bobby in particular, who opened the session today, and a few other students. So bringing them in and almost helping them to think about what future career it is that they're interested in, and they get a lot of support internally at UA92 with a personal coach, which I think is incredible. So through those conversations, they've been able to figure out, have a view on what that future career looks like, and we've been able to match them with the relevant departments internally to just have a conversation and really bring that theory and learning to life in terms of when you're learning something in a classroom, it's great, but it doesn't mean anything until you see it in action. So it's been hopefully beneficial for the students to see that. We've done some other things as well, been thinking a bit more creatively, and we'll continue to work on that over the next few years. Is we run kind of employee networks internally. And what that means is, if you think about student societies, we almost have a similar setup within Talk, where we have employee networks around LGBTQ, women in tech, BAME colleagues, all these different groups of people. And again, Bobby's particularly proactive, which is fab, but has come along to some of those sessions as well, which just gives a different angle as to the sense of belonging within a business as well. It isn't just a paid position that you show up at 9 and go home at 5. We're very, very different culture, very family feel. So it's given good insights to that. So we want to kind of build on that going forward. But also we've had people from Talk come into UA92 and do things such as sit on panels around the target curriculum, the characteristics, and things around resilience in particular. One of our colleagues did a bit of an account on that, which was again hopefully helpful for the students. So yeah, lots of things going on, and more so to come in the pipeline, really. So
thanks, Sam. So before we wrap up the session, I thought I would actually invite two of our wonderful students to join us. So Bobby and Abs are hopefully still in the background and can switch the cameras and mics on. Hi, welcome back. Hi both. So I thought I'd take the opportunity while we've got you to ask you to give a bit of a quick update about what your experience of engaging with industry partners has been like over the last year. Just give us a few examples of what you've done and what you think you've got from it. So if I can start with you, Bobby.
So firstly, I'd just like to follow up on an earlier point, saying like I can't believe how much engagement we've had in our first year. Like obviously it attracted me to UA92, the fact that there was a lot of industry involvement, but I didn't think we'd have so much in this short period of time, like between last September and now. So firstly, and Sam said, I'm one of the Talk scholar students, and that has been an incredible opportunity. I've been into Talk and I've discovered jobs that I didn't even know about before starting university, which is really interesting in terms of like choosing my career path. And also the staff at Talk were actually so eager to get involved with UA92 students. So I had loads of people adding me on LinkedIn. I've had messages from a lot of staff there. I was invited to a couple of women in tech talks, which were really interesting as well. And again, for kind of looking at different careers, and because obviously I'm doing a journalism degree, but that doesn't kind of put me in a box at all. Like it just allows me to kind of open up and see where my career could take me, really. And also just touching on KPMG, obviously me and Abs are student ambassadors, and we had the opportunity to go into the KPMG headquarters in the city centre, and that was a really great experience. I wasn't really expecting, because we had ambassador training, but this kind of added on to that, and it kind of made you think about it in a different way, in like a more practical setting, like actually presenting in front of big crowds, and also networking with people that you might not get the opportunity to network with. So not just peers, but actual industry experts, which was really interesting. How about you, Abs?
I think for me, like obviously echoing what Bobby was saying, we've learned so much. We've had industry experts went to the ITV Granada studios. We learned about how the TV studio works, how it operates, different roles within the TV studio, how to become a better presenter. We done work with Jo. Jo mentioned some of us are doing work with her, so we're doing a work with Jo, and we're learning about what works well and what doesn't work well. And it's just really, really good to get a different insight into it. We've also done work with the health and wellbeing people for Michelle Partington, who came down and gave us a session, and just different sessions that have been happening around UA92, and like Gary Neville coming in doing a talk about how he went into broadcasting and how he became a journalist, or a sports journalist, And like Bobby said, like going to KPMG, because that building is like, I never thought like there's different roles within KPMG. I just thought, oh, I don't understand it. Like KPMG is like all accountancy and all like smart people. But obviously there are smart people there, but it's different roles within KPMG. Like there's a community engagement role in KPMG. And for me, like from like going to these different industry experts and different organizations, I felt like KPMG is much more, as Sam mentioned, how Talk very laid back and very family orientated. I felt like KPMG gave that as well.
Thanks, Abs. That's lovely. Great to hear your reflections on the engagements that you've had. So I'll wrap up this session there. Firstly, to say massive thank you to our partner panel for taking the time to share some of your experiences and insights with us today. Thanks for joining in as well, Bobby and Abs. Brilliant reflections as always. So we're going to take a short 5-minute break now before the 5 o'clock session. So there'll be finance, accommodation and scholarships, and also a fast track session.